back again with. I went ahead and done the Friday night flashback. If you hear some different stuff behind me, it's raining, and I think the dogs are maybe wanting to bark at stuff out the window or something like that. So if you hear that, just kind of bear with me. I played A Nightmare on Elm Street, and for me only playing it, this is only the third time I've played it. I almost got to the end of the game. This is, like I said, only the third time I played it. I kind of watched a little bit of a walkthrough, so I kind of knew more what to expect of the game this time than what I had previously. Of course, with the NES, you only have a couple buttons anyway. So one of them jumps, the other one punches, throws projectiles, whatever. First of all, what I want to say is there's a couple of little emblems in the game. You collect those, you can turn into I think it's like a gymnast, or like a wizard, or a maybe like a ninja. And the gymnast can throw like a javelin and can jump and do like a twirl in midair. So the jumping's a little bit better. Of course, you can still use the same guy. The guy is the main character, but all he can do is punch and jump. The wizard, he's got a projectile, and I think that's about all he does. The ninja, he's got a throwing star and a jump that you can kind of go through some of the bosses with, and not take a hit. So, but sometimes that hit detection's really kind of off, so you have to kind of figure it out. The game is loosely based upon the Nightmare on Elm Street 3 movie, where they have, I guess, special powers. I've never really watched too many of the movies, so I just have to go on what's on there. What it is basically you're going down Elm Street. You go into 3 buildings. When you go into those 3 buildings, you're supposed to be able to go into whichever one you want to first, but I think it's kind of laid out that you have to go into the 3rd building first, then the 2nd building, and then the 1st building, or maybe it's the 1st and then the 2nd. It's one of those. Those 3 buildings have to be done. What you do is you go in and you collect bones. After you collect enough bones, an exit will open. You'll go through that exit and you'll collect more bones. And then at the end of that stage, you'll fight a boss. Very important, you need to fight the boss while you are in Dream World, which is a blue colored world. You need to fight the boss in Dream World, so that if you picked up any of the icons that were along the way, that you can switch to those characters. Those characters give you a big advantage. See, that's why I had an advantage a little bit more this time than the previous time I had tried to play this game. I still didn't get all the way through it, but I got further than I had. You have 5 or 6 lives when you start, and you have 3 continue chances. So basically you have 4 continues, because you already start with the 1 anyway, and then you can continue 3 more times. I don't really know how the life bar thing works on this game, because you can take quite a few hits before you die. If you jump down a hole, you die. There's another couple of things that if you some of the background kind of looks like platforms that you can jump on. They're not. Most of them are just background decorations. That's one of the main problems I have with the game. They are background decorations, and you don't know what you can go through and what you won't. So that's one of my gripes with the game. Another gripe with the game is there are the enemies keep respawning a lot. They respawn quite frequently, and if you watch the playthrough, as I got on up through there were places that there may be a pattern, but I didn't see one, or there may be a way of getting around without getting hit, but I didn't see one. So that makes it a little bit more difficult as well. After you go through the 3 houses, you go to the junkyard, then you go back to the cemetery, and then to Freddy's house, then to the high school. When you get at the end of each area, you fight a form of him Like the first one is a large hand that tries to swat down at you. Another one is hands flying around the room. Another one is like a head thing that's got tongues coming out that crawl across the ground. And like I said, a lot of these enemies are better suited to the special powers character. So you'll see me stop a lot and wait until I'm in the dream world to fight. That way I have at least a decent chance, and I can use somebody else and I'll have a decent chance of beating the enemy. The game's not a bad game. It is very tough, though. I'm sure it's one of the first games that actually used the NES Advantage adapter thing, which had it was 4-score, to where you could have 4 people playing on the same screen at one time. They say that the more people you have in it, the easier it is to get through the game. I would say that's probably a good estimate. I've seen people go through it a single, but I've seen people go through it with more than one character as well. And but there's a bunch of different enemies like snakes and things, and mostly you have to punch them because that's all you have with that one guy. When you get to the high school, you have to face all the previous bosses in a row, and then you have to beat him himself. Not too much else to say really about the game. If you stay in the dream world for too long and you don't grab a boombox and get woke up and you don't get the bones fast enough, it starts doing the 1-2 Freddy's coming for you thing, and then you have to fight him in a short little boss battle. The short little boss battles are not too bad. You just have to make sure that when he's coming at you, he doesn't really, because he just goes left and right and takes swipe, and he just swipes at you. So that's kind of easy to avoid. You can also jump over him. The only thing that you got to worry about is the hand coming out of the ground every so often trying to get you where you are. Sometimes it's not where you're at. Sometimes it's right where you're at. But that's, those are just short little boss battles that, you don't want to really do them if you don't have to, because it takes more health and everything off of your character than anything else. But, like I said, if you played through the game quite a few times and you went through it, or if you had help, you could probably get through it, and it wouldn't be too bad. I think the playthrough is it's a shorter playthrough, and I didn't really deal too lot with the enemies because I was trying to get through point A to point B before the sleep meter fell too far down, and I would have to go into those little boss battles because I knew I was going to have to do boss fights anyway. So, why make it, more of a boss battle? But every time that you defeat a boss, you get a key for the next areas, and that's where you go on those areas. Like I said, I see where they were going with this game, and it could have been really good. There's just a couple of little things, like I said, that I have gripes on. The background decorations that look like platforms. That's one of my gripes. The other one is the respawning enemies. Other than that, it's a good game from a company that it's from LJN. LJN made some of their games are good, but not a whole lot of them. Most of them are garbage. This happens to be a good one. They could have made it better, like I said, without the respawning enemies and the background decorations and things like that. I know what they were going for. I understand what they were trying to do. And like I said, other than the respawning enemies, really, on my playthrough, other than the respawning enemies, I enjoyed the playthrough, and I would probably play through it again, trying to beat it with help, or trying to take time. But like I said, most of these playthroughs, I want to show you guys games, not necessarily beat them unless unless I think I can beat them, or unless it's a game I really enjoy. This is not one I really enjoyed. It's kind of the middle of the road. If you've never played it before, you may give it a crack. The controls are kind of loose in a way. They're kind of they're real touchy. They're not real. It's not like some of these other games where you have to press right down on the directional pad to get character to move. Kind of moves with just a light tap. So the control takes a little bit getting used to. You can duck on the game because you do have to duck down to punch stuff. The difference between the real world and the dream world is the enemies in the dream world. That both enemies are different. The enemies in the dream world are more difficult to defeat. They take more hits than the ones in the real world. And but basically it's collecting bones, going through collecting bones, platform jumping, defeating a boss. It's pretty standard, pretty easy after you kind of see what you're doing. It's pretty easy after that. Then it's just trying to go through and play the game. So, like I said, we're going to do those Dungeons and Dragons ones coming up. Probably 10 to 15 minutes of each. I'm not going to try to go through them and beat them. There's just too much there to do. Also, the Secret of Mana ones, if anybody watched the playthrough from last night, it went a little bit longer than what I wanted. Well, it went long, but there was a lot of grinding involved, and I apologize for the grinding that was involved with, one of the weapons and some of the magic. But what you need to realize is the magic on there that I had for the gnome that I had for the sprite character was what I had to use on the wall, the wall boss that was on there, because I'll be doing another video for this. That boss that was a wall, I had to use the earth slide on it, so I had to have it leveled up a little bit higher. Otherwise, I couldn't have taken out as fast as I did. Took me a while to beat the robot boss. I probably could have done that a little bit better and a little bit faster. But like I said, I'm leveling up the stuff off the stream. We'll see where we go next time. There's 8 different magics on the game. We have 2 for right now. We'll get more into that as we go forward and as we get more magics out of the game. Jim said that might be a short thing. It's the Secret of Mana is going to be many parts, and it's going to be a pretty long stream. As always, in closing though, I do want to tell you guys, check out some of Jim's videos. Check out some of Roger's videos too. Like I said, Roger's doing the kind of the fishing and the NASCAR racing and some of the wrestling. Jim is doing some newer games. He had one the other day, a stream of a game, and it looked pretty interesting, and it was pretty interesting to see what he was playing. I'm going to try to do some little short stream things with audio to see if I can do commentary on the video game itself while I'm playing it. That way we won't have these commentary videos to have to put with the gameplay. I can talk to you while I'm playing the game, and then you can kind of get my reaction from the games at that point, and only have to watch one video instead of having to watch 2 videos. I think that'll cut back on these a little bit, and that'll make it a little bit easier on both me and Jim, and you guys as well, that watch these. That'll make it a little bit easier, because then that way you can watch the gameplay and you can listen instead of just instead of watching gameplay and then having me up in the corner there. Which, like I said, Jim's doing a good job of that. But at the same point, you know, I'd like for you guys to get some actual feel into, you know, playing the game, because like some of these games, you don't realize how bad like maybe the control or something is on the game until you actually play it yourself, and you can kind of hear the frustration with me and the buttons and stuff while I'm actually going through the game, because sometimes some of these games are very, very frustrating, and I think just the raw emotion that comes out would describe it a whole lot better than I can on a video such as this. So, but we'll try that over the weekend, maybe over the week, and see if we can get that going. Until next time, or whenever we say all this stuff again, we'll see you later.